Luke, congratulations, a dominant win there over Nick Kenny. Just sum up your emotions after that one, please.
Yeah, I feel good. I thought it was a solid performance. It wasn't really exuberant. It wasn't my top level, but credit to Nick. I thought he played pretty decent. To be honest, he played a lot better than he did against Barney. And the first set was a close one. He could have won that one. He missed one dart. But after that, I felt like I got a little bit better. I grew into the game a lot more, and it was a solid performance. It was, not being big-headed, it wasn't at my best game, but sometimes you don't have to be at your best game every single round. It's important just to play the player or play the board and just get through the game. And what more can I ask for? 7 out of 7 sets. That's all I can.
How's it been for you, winning on the opening night and then having to wait until now to come back and play again and seeing what's unfolding in that gap? How's it been?
Yes, it's been enjoyable watching everyone lose and you still be in the tournament. But on a serious note, I've enjoyed watching a lot of new superstars and a lot of different players that you don't get to see. As a fan, it was nice. But yeah, you have that little bit of a drive. You want to come up. You want to be back. You don't want to be waiting 12 days. But on the other hand, I enjoyed the time off. Probably the longest, maybe the first or second time I've had a break like that for this year. So I really enjoyed it. I used it to my advantage and. I really enjoyed it, but it's nice to be back now. It's you're not going to have like a long time away from the board or on the stage now. It's full pace, so that's when you're in the business end of the tournament.
What does it do to your mindset having seen 14 seeded players go out the tournament, or is it just testament to the strength and depth on the tour at the moment?
A bit of both. To be honest, I'm not there watching the seeds losing and going, "This is good for me," because I don't want to play in the World Final and play against someone else. I want to play against Gary Anderson or Ross Smith and Michael van Gerwen and Getty Price. I don't want to play against anybody else. I know, no disrespect, but I just want to play against the best. So I wasn't there watching it and enjoying it. It makes it a lot easier for Michael. I bet Michael's rubbing his hands a lot. He's probably looking at it thinking this is a good draw for him, but. I was gutted for him, to be honest. I think that, but also it's good for the sport. If you got new people winning, it's been the year of the underdog, and it's been great for them. But I think that to win this tournament, it's going to be it'd be the biggest shock in world darts if an underdog won this.
Peter Wright up next, a wounded Peter Wright at the moment. We saw him come through his battle earlier against Watermean. He's not feeling great, but he's still a dangerous player, isn't he?
He is a dangerous player. I felt like he was okay in the practice room. I mean, maybe he was. A lot iller than he showed, but I didn't really see any signs that he was that ill as he maybe said he was. But I've been ill here 2 years ago and I played Bunting and Vincent van der Voort, and I was really I struggled. I couldn't perform anywhere near the top level. He actually played probably one of the better games he's played for a long time. But he's had a lot to say over the last couple of weeks where he says that he doesn't fear me and Luke Littler, but he said he's going to smash us. So. All pressure's on him now, because if he doesn't, then the egg's on his face, not mine. I'm really relaxed, and if he doesn't beat us, then it's going to look silly on him, not me.
Luke, congratulations. I just want to know what you do for 12 days between a first match and a second match.
I mean, it's not an obvious thing that you get to do a lot, so it's not something that happens every time you play in a major tournament. It's the only time that it can ever happen, so... Literally, it was a lot of Christmas shopping, a lot of practicing in between. I didn't neglect my practice. I made sure I had maybe a couple of days off afterwards. So I played, and then I was straight on the practice board and Christmas shopping and spending time with my family. Because you don't get a lot of time off like this a lot. So it was really nice, and I did send a few interviews previous that if I would have played on the 22nd and played on the 28th, that little break in between would have been enough to think I'd rather have 12 days off rather than 5. So now you're in that rapid end where you're playing all the time. It's a lot better.
Just wondering how much of it you've actually watched. You talk about the seeds falling and that not being something that excites you, but have you been watching some of the matches to get yourself, just keep the juices flowing during that big gap?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching it as a fan, so I've been watching a lot of the players, and I just kind of don't really see anybody that's really put their hand up and performed at an absolute incredible level. I think for the only one I can off my head is Callum Riz. I didn't see that game, but that's the only one that's really performed. I mean, Luke had that incredible last set, but before that he wasn't, firing on all cylinders, and none of us have. So I think there's a lot of pressure on everyone this year. I think everybody's sort of seeing an opportunity, and You know, it's kind of making everyone try too hard.
I mean this in a backhanded compliment sort of way, but maybe some of those other players, actually having watched you in the first couple of matches, might think the same about you. You know, because you've made it actually look very, very easy. I mean, you've averaged over 95 there, and you've not really broken sweat. Could they think the same watching you, or have you got? I mean, you know, you've got more gears to go through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of them players that I'm not one of them people that averages 105, 105, 105, but I do enough to win every time, and that's all that matters. You know, it's I'd rather be averaging 98 like I did tonight, 98, 99, whatever it was, and winning 4-0 than averaging 105. And you know, I'm not here, I'm a loser. So yeah, I just do what matters, and when the top players turn up and I know I'm in for a real slog, that's when I turn up. That's when I'm at my best. That's when I'm firing. So, you know, for me, I'm just one of them people that just wants to get the job done, and you know, I'm not into the exuberance of hitting 110 averages. I just want to win. That's what matters.
And finally, you know, the treasure chest that contains your A game. When do you decide to open that up? Talk me through the mindset that entails.
It opens up when it needs to be opened up. And it might be needed to open up next game. So, you know, I'll open out when it needs to be opened up. I felt like last year it was the same scenario. 3-0 against Lee Evans, weren't at my best. I got a massive scare against Ricardo. And then against Joe, it was an even more massive scare. But when it got to the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals, no one really got close to me. I know Luke was 4-2 up in the final, but a 7-4 win in a final of a World Championships is a pretty convincing scoreline. So yeah, I think when I get in the last stages and the sets start getting a lot longer, that's when I get more better and I start feeling more comfortable. So yeah, I'm more dangerous the later the tournament goes on.
Thanks, Luke. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Luke, congratulations. You touched on it there. You've obviously been listening to some of the media interviews. What was your thought when Peter said Raymond would beat you?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say something back, but I'm one of them people that's like, nah, let's leave it. But I didn't read the whole interview, but I see what he said, and I'm thinking, you know, how many times have people said, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it never happens. You know, Michael's a good example. He said so many things over the years, I'm going to smash this, smash that, and then he loses. So, yeah, Pete was like, I think he said something like, Barney's going to smash me and Peter's going to smash Jermaine. Well, he got his end of the bargain, but yeah, it's just, I think Peter loves to play the mind games, but it don't work with me. You know, I'm one world title away from almost matching his career. So, and I'm about 25 years younger. So, I think one world title would sort of match everything he's ever achieved in the game. So, yeah, I don't look into it too much. You know, I think he's trying to play the mind games, but unfortunately for him, it don't work for me, and it probably won't work for Luke because he said he don't fear us, but if I don't fear someone, I don't keep mentioning them all the time.
You touched on scares early on. Do you genuinely believe it's a case of if you don't get you early, they're not going to get you at all?
Yeah, I don't think that, but I do believe it. I don't think it in my mind like, if you don't get me early, I'm gonna win. But I do feel like the more the tournament goes in, I'm not just talking to myself. I'm talking like me, Luke Littler, Mike Van Gerwen, people like Gerrington. If you're not going to get us early, and you're going to allow us to play best of 9 sets, best of 11 sets. No, we're not unbeatable in that length, but that is when it does play into our hands, and you know, it's only going to benefit me more if I'm making the quarter-final and I'm playing best of 9. But I think I've probably got one of the tougher draws of the side of it. You know, Peter Wright, 2-time world champion. Then it could be Bunting, who's an absolute unbelievable player. You know, I've been practicing with him. And then it could be Luke or Ryan Searle, and then it could be you know, Mike Van Gerwen. So I think I've got a tough running from this moment on, and you know, I'm going to get on that practice board and really work hard to say, all right, now's the time to make sure that you're at your absolute best to win this tournament.
I love the fact that you know who's in every little section of your draw.
Any player that says they don't are liars. Trust me.
If you were to go on and win a second world title, being the players you just mentioned, would this be better than last year's?
If it runs into the same situation, yes. But I also feel like winning a second world title or back-to-back world title actually is a lot harder, because when you win it the first time, it was all a little bit of a shock, a little bit of a surprise. When you win it a second time, it's almost like you've proved everyone wrong, and everyone don't think you're going to win it again, because the chances of people winning it back-to-back is incredibly rare. You know, we've seen Phil and Phil, Adrian and Gary do that. So yeah, it's a rare occasion. So for me to do it a back-to-back would be a surprise for everybody. But I do believe I can do it. Of course I do. And you know, it's gonna have to. I'm gonna have to bring out even better than I did last year. But if I can produce what I did last year, and then backstages, you know, the last 16 quarters and final, yeah, I do believe I can go on and do it again. Thank you, Phil.
Well done, Luke.
Thank you.
You're talking about Peter there and what he said when he spoke to us after his second round.
You
match.
want a nice headline here, didn't you?
Can you use that as extra motivation for yourself?
Yeah, I'm only having a laugh. I'm only messing, but yeah, I mean, Peter. You know, I think some players they love to have a little. They love to get in your mind a little bit. You know, love to make you think like I'm doing right now. He's probably going to see this interview and he's probably going to see your headline. He's going to think I've got in his head, but he hasn't. You know, I'm just saying that he has to smash me now because he said that was what was going to happen. And if he beats me, then he's going to have to smash Luke Littler because that's what he said he was going to do. And you know, I'm just saying that it never works out well for people that say what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. You know, Peter said he was going to win a major this year, and he wasn't going to tell anybody what major it was going to be. Well, it has to be this one, otherwise he's going to look silly again. So, you know, all the banter aside, I'm really looking forward to playing him. He's a top guy. He's a two-time world champion. He's got massive experience, and I respect him a lot. And you know, I'm really pleased for him the way he played tonight. You know, he hasn't been well, but you know, I'm hoping that I can pounce on that in 2 days' time and really perform in the way I know I can.
Watching on from home, you've obviously a lot of seeds have fallen. We've mentioned that a couple of times. Is there any particular name that's not in the tournament anymore that you particularly surprised at? Or?
The Gary Anderson one. I heard he was injured though a little bit, so I think that would maybe be why. But I was really looking forward to watching, as a fan, Gary Anderson versus Ross Smith. There could be no dart fan that could say they weren't looking forward to that. You know, that would have been an absolute barnstormer of a game. You know, two absolute heavy scorers. I was gutted that they both didn't win, to be honest, because that would have been a great game. It really would have been. But you know, it's the year of the underdog apparently this year. You know, there's no one that can't win, and a lot to play for you know, Jeffrey de Graaf and Paolo Nebreda. Yeah. So it's great. You know, great for them. You know, it's really good for them. And you know, I'm just gutted that Gary did lose because I'd love to have seen him maybe even make the final, and hopefully I would have made the final and played him.
Well done,
Thank you.
Luke, well done on that win and the performance up there. You said that if you went back-to-back on the World Championships, you'd pretty much equal what Peter Wright's done, but you would probably surpass what 95% of players who have ever played darts have done as well. So obviously a long way to go, but if that did happen, how do you keep that motivation before the age of 30?
I think Peter's won 2 world titles and 6 major tournaments without the Masters.
Yeah.
I think that would, or he's won 5 and then 2 worlds. So I would have matched him without the Masters, which ain't ranked. So it'd have been ranked on. So yeah, that'd have been a nice coup because I rate him as one of the best that's ever been. So it'd been nice if I could win this to match him. But you know, for me, of course, it would be absolutely unbelievable to go back to back regardless. And if you're back to back world champion, it's not hard to motivate yourself. It really isn't. It makes you think, okay, well, you know, like the way I felt this year, it's been amazing. I felt great, and everyone comes up to you and shakes your hand, like just wants to shake your hand. Oh my God, like, can I shake your hand? It's like, of course you can. You know, it's really, really lovely. So you want that feeling to stay with you forever. But unfortunately, if I'm going to be in this game until I'm 50, I'm not going to win 21 world titles. So you have to experience many, many years of not being world champion. It probably does hurt, but you know, I don't want that feeling to be in the next 12 months.
It's only been just over a year since you lifted your first major. Where are the hunger levels now compared to, say, just before that World Grand Prix victory?
Yeah, good question. I think it's massively higher now. I want to achieve more and I want to win more. You know, we as players have got a great opportunity. The PDC have grown the game absolutely massively in the last 5 to 10 years. But, you know, over the last, say, 12 months, it's grown even more. So there's so much opportunity, so much money to win, so many titles to win. And, you know, for me, I'm only motivated by titles, you know, and for me, I'd love to break, you know, my motivation is to break the 10 major thing, you know. I think James has got 10,
yeah.
The third most decorated player in world darts, so I'd love to break that in the next 2 years maybe. That would really be a massive coup. And, you know, there's many targets I want to set myself, but, you know, I'm just going to focus on trying to be back-to-back world champion first.
And you said you're a darts fan as well, so will you be watching both your rivals tomorrow, Luke Littler and Michael van Gerwen, in action?
Possibly. I mean, I think now I'm really deep in the competition. I don't want to like flood my mind with watching too much, playing too much, and everything's about darts all of a sudden. I'll be watching Ryan Searle, of course, because one of my best mates. So I think he's on first one. Yeah, so I'll make sure I'm up for that one. I'll be watching him, and then I'll try and grab a little bit. I mean, whatever happens between the next Luke or Michael, I won't be like worried if they play amazing or they play rubbish. But yeah, of course, as a darts fan, you want to watch the best games. So I'm hoping they both win because it's good for the tournament.
Cheers, Luke. Well done tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.